This is Inside Badger Football with head coach Trey Shucker. Inside Badger Football is brought to you by Bell Wealth Services, Welch Funeral Home, Austin Wingfield State Farm, Southern Bancorp, Southwest Sporting Goods, the accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plywood, Taylor King Law, Pricing Company, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles, Thompson, and Kneebone, Certified Public Accountants, Clark County Farm Bureau, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto Collection, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Arkadelphia Tire and Outfitters, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Bats and Signs, Sonic of Arkadelphia, Dairy Queen, Pediatrics Plus, Rise Counseling, and Print Mania. The host of Inside Badger Football is Chase Hartzell.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Badger Football with Trey Shucker. I'm Chase Hartzell, joined as always by Coach Shucker. Coach Shucker, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me today.
All right, so it's playoff time now. We're getting into that, but first we've got to talk about the last game of the regular season. Impressive win for Arkadelphia on the road in the Ouachita River Rumble, clinching an undefeated regular season and an undisputed conference championship.
Yes, just a big way to cap off the regular season. Very proud of our staff, of our players, and their preparation of the whole season, but ultimately leading up to that last game against Malvern. Just really, I thought our kids were prepared. They were ready. There were some weather delays. We had to move the game to Saturday, played the game at noon. It was an awesome environment. Very proud of our community for coming out and supporting us, even though the game got switched to Saturday. I know Saturdays are big days for a lot of other people to do whatever they need to do or whatever they want to do. But we had a huge turnout. A lot of support came out and just created a big environment for us and supported us throughout the game. And so just a big all-around win. Our staff was prepared, our players were prepared, and they went out and executed. And
you mentioned the weather. That was something that affected a lot of the state. We saw a lot of games on Saturday compared to Friday. So you mentioned adjusting that. How did y'all go about adjusting to get ready for that game and to make sure, to adjust the game plan, because you're planning even all the way into Friday, going and playing at 6 o'clock on Friday night, and then you get the news Friday morning that you got to wait a whole nother day.
Yeah, and in a game like that, especially, as their senior night, if at all possible, you want to play it on a Friday night, especially when there's a senior night involved and, extra events. People take off work to come, or they make a trip. People have family members come in to watch their relatives play, and so sometimes moving a game to a different day kind of messes some of that up. But we tried to schedule it and schedule an earlier time in the day on Friday to be able to play, and then just the way the weather was looking and what was predicted, we felt like it wasn't best. Malvern and our administration got together and just decided on a Saturday game at noon. So we thought that was what was best to be able to get the game in and what was safe for everybody involved, and that would be at the game.
And you mentioned the atmosphere as well. It was a great atmosphere on a Saturday. That's usually when you see the college football teams playing, and there's some college talent on both sides that'll probably be playing on Saturdays themselves, but got a little taste of that, and really did have that big college atmosphere feel. It's a rivalry game too.
Yeah.
Almost felt in a way it's like a small college rivalry game.
It really was. It was really cool getting to play that game on a noon kickoff, and our kids loved it. It was just one of those things where it's just so much different. The weather was great. The sun was out, and the weather was pretty mild. It was cool. So it was really just fun environment, really fun opportunity to get to play in a noon game.
So we usually start with the offense in discussing this, but let's start with the defense today, because the defense was really the story in this one. Perhaps the best performance they've had of the season thus far, facing a very dynamic Leopards offense that's been giving headaches to a lot of the defenses throughout the 7-4A.
Yeah.
But Arkadelphia holding them to just 13 points.
No doubt.
Finishing off conference play with just 10 points allowed per game. Just talk about their performance.
Yeah, no doubt. Malvern's offense has put up big numbers all year. they've got a big rushing attack. They've had a really good running back. They're very, very good at what they do, and they've shown that and proved it. Our defense knew that we had a big task ahead of them. Our defensive staff got our guys prepared. Chris Kaiser is our defense coordinator, Ben Chandler, our linebackers coach, Bobby Evans, our defensive line coach, did a great job of getting the game plan installed and practice with our kids. Our kids took it, and then they went out and executed very, very well. When we get to see the highlights of the game, you're going to see us playing violent. We came off the ball really, really hard. There's a lot of white jerseys getting to the ball, and we didn't miss many tackles. And it was just a mentality of, we knew what we had to do, and our kids had the mentality to do it. And that's really what it came down to.
Yes, and looking back at this performance too, 13 points allowed in the game. This is going to be remembered as one of the landmark performances for the defense this season, but there was some discussion on the post-game show that was actually the highest amount of points allowed by the Badger defense, which I think just speaks to a testament to how strong they've been over the past several weeks.
Yes, and we knew that they were going to be able to do some stuff, and we knew that we had to get as many white jerseys to the ball as possible. We weren't going to be able to bring the running back down very easily. He's big, he's physical, he runs hard, he's fast when he gets to open his stride up. And we knew that we had to be physical, and very, very proud of our guys for going out, executing the game plan, and matching it. So they've got a good offensive line. I thought we matched that as well, and so it was just a big, big task overall. Yes, they scored a few times on us, but that's just a testament to how good Malvern is. We expect them to move on into the playoffs and really make some noise in the playoffs.
And you mentioned the talented backfield there.
Yeah.
Dupree, and then also joining him with Cedric Simmons, a four-year starter who also has college aspirations for next year. We could be seeing him playing at the next level, so a very talented unit there. But let's move on to the offense for Arkadelphia, because really setting the tempo early on. There was some, doubt early in the game because it was pretty close, and it looked like we may see either an offensive battle or a defensive battle. But really, once you get to the late part of the first quarter and the second quarter, you really see the offense settle in. And it all started really, we'll see it in a moment, with that first touchdown on the fourth down on the first drive. Yeah,
we just knew we had to get in rhythm early. What we kind of talked about to the team all week was we wanted to start fast, and we wanted to start executing and get in a rhythm before Malvern did. And I thought we did that.
And just an overall excellent performance, the execution. What allowed this offense to settle in? Because obviously Malvern being a big atmosphere on Saturday, and you're in hostile territory, but they really looked unfazed throughout the entire game. Yeah. Even though there was a good defensive stop on the next drive, they were able to bounce back, and they were scoring nearly every time they were on the field after that.
I thought our offense did a really good job of playing together. It all starts with the front. Our offensive line did a great job of protecting Donovan and allowing him and giving him the time to go through his reads and find his receivers. Receivers did a great job of attacking the space through the routes and then just catching the ball. We did a great job. There's some big-time catches throughout the game that were tough catches to make, and our receivers went and made them. It just came down to making plays. And then defense did a great job of putting our offense in good field position to score and score quickly, and that's what we did.
A lot of highlight plays, and I'm glad you mentioned the offensive line, because they set up a lot of highlight plays as well.
Absolutely.
And we're going to get to see some of those plays here in just a moment, because these are the highlights from the Ouachita River Rumble against Malvern.
So we returned the opening kickoff. Getting the ball, we knew that we had to execute early. We had to get in a rhythm early, and started off right there with a big play on the ground. Kyle Reed gets around the edge and gets a big run to start the game, and then followed by a big catch by Trip Campbell. At this point, we feel good about just the way we're moving. We knew if we could get a score on this drive, it would really set us up big in for the rest of the game. And then just a huge run right here by Donovan Witten, senior quarterback, on fourth down. Offensive line did a great job executing the run play. Donovan gets the crease and opens his stride up, and then is able to put the ball in the end zone. Just a big run to set the tone for the game. And so our kickoff unit goes down. We take a lot of pride in our special teams. Our kickoff unit does a great job of covering down. You see all white jerseys getting to the ball, and we're able to get the returner down inside the 20. And that's one thing that we take pride in as well in our kickoff unit. And defensively, we knew we had a big task at hand. They've got a really good running back. As you see right there, it's a big, big run. He's a big back, and then their quarterback's able to run as well. And so we've got to do a good job of bottling those two up. We have to be good tacklers. And you see right there, we're just getting the ball carried down any way possible. We've got to get to the ball. We have to have good rush angles. You see a big, big group of white jerseys getting to the ball, and that's what we had to do all day. They hit us with a screen here. Very proud of our defense for, making the offense run a lot of plays to get the ball down the field. It's one thing we didn't want to do is we didn't want any big plays. We had to minimize the big plays, the big chunk yards. So a lot of it was 4 yards here, 6 yards here, 3 yards here. I think that first drive they ran 14, 15 plays to score. And it takes a lot out of an offense to do that. And then right here, just a big tone setter there by Max Wilson getting through and blocking the PAT. That's tough whenever an offense goes out. They run a lot of plays to score and then followed up by a blocked PAT. It's just kind of deflating when that happens. And I thought that was a big moment of the game as well. And then our offense takes the field again. We find Latonio Hughes, big catch right there as one of the big catches. I was talking about earlier is, our receivers did a great job of making plays. This was another one. Receivers did a great job making plays. Some tough catches that if we don't make, it makes it harder for us. And we made them. That's what it really come down to is we made the plays we had to make. And all phases of the game worked together to do it. And you see us right here, we're covering down again. We tackle the returner on the 14-yard line, 15-yard line. That's huge because it helps our defense and puts our defense in position to get the ball, get their offense off the field. They've got to run more plays. And so they might get 6 yards here, 8 yards here, 2 yards here. But they've got to run more plays to get to the end zone because they start further back. And so they run a flea flicker here, try to find something. Our DBs did a great job of matching the routes, and then nothing was open. And then our defensive line did a great job of putting pressure on the quarterback and getting him down.
So at this point, Arkadelphia leading 14-6. And the offense still keeping up the tempo from early in the game. Huge tone setter here for Trip Campbell on the drive. He did that a couple times in this game.
He did. Trip had a huge game for us. Senior wide receiver. He's been playing very, very well in conference play. He's gotten better as the season has gone on. He battled an injury a little bit earlier from the summer for the first part of the season, and he's completely healed, and he's really finding a rhythm and having the senior season that we expect him to have. He's just one of those senior leaders for us. Great job. That was our only punt of the game. We executed, stopped by penalties, is really what it come down to. But we executed some really good plays, got some yards, just ran out of, downs really whenever it comes down to, getting behind the sticks. We knew we had to stay ahead of the sticks to keep moving. Malvern does a great job at what they do. We knew we had to execute well. We had to make plays in order to move the ball and to get their offense off the field. And it had to be an all-around team effort. You see right here, they do a good job of tackling. They get us down. And then fourth down, ended up calling a timeout and, knew I wanted to talk about the play that I wanted to run and make sure that we can go out and execute it. And so you see right here, we ran a sprint out play, found senior receiver Carter Babb open. Carter did a great route, created some space, and then ended up finishing with a big catch and ended up in the end zone.
So now Arkadelphia up 21-6, and this is where those early scores really came into play. But the defense still playing like it's nothing at this point. really a great mentality from them throughout the game, making sure that they were giving up no free yards.
Absolutely. Our defense coordinator, Coach Kaiser, his saying is pour on more steam, pour on more steam. And, I thought our defense did that. Our defense takes pride in being physical. We take pride in being violent and getting offenses off the field and not allowing points. And that was no different Saturday. Thought we did a great job of putting pressure on the quarterback and disrupting anytime they wanted to throw the ball. He's not able to stand there and throw. He's having to move in the pocket and dodge, rushers. I thought our defensive line did a great job of just disrupting plays. Going into, there's not much time left in the first half here. Run a quick reverse to get a first down. Potentially could have been a bigger play, but Malvern did a great job of recognizing it and getting to us. Donovan, he was able to extend some plays here and there. Big run by him, putting us close to the sticks, and we're able to end up getting a first down on this play. So on first down, we're able to find Trip Campbell. I know we were talking about him earlier, but big day by him, big catch. It's one of the catches that we have to have that. That's an opportunity at the end zone. Donovan does a great job of extending the play, getting his eyes downfield and getting the ball off and putting the ball in a great spot for Trip to go up, high point the ball with two hands, rips the ball away from the defender just like we work on in practice, and gets the ball to his body and finishes with the ball. So it's just a big play overall. We work situations like that with our receivers. We work a lot of goal line routes and technique on how we catch the ball down on the goal line and in the end zone. And that was perfect technique right there by Tripp.
And right here, a punt from Malvern, and this pretty much wrapped up the first half. So 28-6 at this point in the game. Feeling pretty good, but again, we mentioned Malvern's offense is dynamic. There was still a chance for things to get interesting in the second half.
Yes, and we loved the way we started the game. We were excited at how we were able to put some points on the board and not allow many points. We liked the spread of the score and at halftime, but what we talked about at halftime was the score is 0-0. We've got to come out and have a big second half. Malvern's one of those offenses that they can put up 35, 40 points in a half, and so we knew that if we didn't come out strong in the second half, that they could potentially do that. And so we knew we had to pretty much start the game over. We started the game really, really fast and physical, and we had to do that in the second half. We had to come out and we had to execute. Defense had to get their offense off the field. And so right here, big fourth down play, Trip Campbell comes up with another big catch. It's another one that I talk about. We just made the plays we had to make, and then followed by a big run right here by Kyle Reed, sophomore running back. He's having himself a great year as well. 1 year ago he was playing junior high football, and now here he is. I think he's 9 touchdowns, and most of that is in the conference play. Sophomore, having a great year, and then a big testament to that with a sophomore running back is the offensive line. Being able to create those rush lanes and help him out, just because he is young. He needs a little bit extra help here and there at times, and our offensive line has done a great job of allowing that.
And really, it's a testament to the talent of the offensive line, how easy they made it look in this game, because Malvern has one of the most talented defensive fronts in the conference.
Absolutely.
With great protection not only for Reed but also for Donovan Witten throughout the day. Had a few read options in there as well, and looked very confident in being able to make the reads. His offensive line gave him the time to make the right reads nearly every time.
They really did. It's one of those things where the offensive line has progressed over the course of the year, and I said that earlier this year, that at the end of the season you would see a lot different look and feel of our offensive line than at the beginning. And then just a big play right here by senior wide receiver and cornerback Latonio Hughes. They threw a post pattern. He's able to get on his hip and broke on the ball. And a big play right there. and then here he is again. Big run, puts the ball on the ground, but is able to come up with it. Just one of those situations where the ball ended up bouncing back our way, and then sophomore wide receiver, we're able to get him the ball right there, Jaquavis Purefoy. Big run by him. Donovan extending plays with his legs again. That's one thing that he's always been able to do, is extend plays with his legs. If you cover our receivers, a lot of times he's getting down the field, and then right there was a penalty. Pass interference puts us close, and then we get down there, we get in our heavy set, and we pitch it out to junior running back D'Angelo Buckley, and he's able to find the end zone as well. So a lot of different scorers Saturday, a lot of different people touched the ball and had a lot of different touchdowns in different ways. And then I know we showed the defensive stats earlier, but our defense did a phenomenal job of getting to the ball, being violent and physical. You see us, white jerseys, getting to the ball everywhere. Had a lot of people with a lot of tackles. And this was one of the bigger plays of the night for them. Number 24 was a good receiver. We knew that we had to do a good job of covering him. He was their number one target when it comes to the passing game. And, this is a good play by them.
And you expect to see a handful of plays like that, at least when you're playing Malvern. But really, that's the one standout from this game. Arkadelphia up 42-13 at this point. Great return here by Latonio Hughes, as the Badgers are now in the good sportsman rule. And, a lot of people were expecting Arkadelphia to win this game, but a lot thought it would be closer than this.
Yeah, and, I thought our DBs, our back in our corners and safeties on defense did a great job of not allowing any big plays in the pass game other than that one. And they tried to get to that. When you play from behind, they know that they've got to make a couple big plays happen and try to get a couple breaks here and there, and our defense didn't allow that. Our defense continued to put pressure on the quarterback and disrupt plays in the pass and the run. Our linebackers did a great job of tackling when they needed to tackle, and then our DBs did a really good job of not allowing any space for wide receivers to get open and make catches. They did have a couple catches here and there throughout the game, but our DBs are right there to make a play and make a tackle. Just very, very proud of our team overall. I thought our special teams set the tone and helped our defense out with our cover down and making their offense have to go the entire field to score anytime they did. And then our defense did a great job of getting them off the field, played well on third down, played well on fourth down. I think we were 5 for 5 on fourth down offensively, and I think they were maybe 1 for 5 or 1 for 6 on fourth down. So defense really did a good job of helping our offense get in good field position to score, and our offense really did a good job of getting in a rhythm early, playing together as an offense, and then executing the plays to score and just making the plays to score, and that's what we did.
As you saw on the screen below, the final score in that one, Arkadelphia 49 and Malvern 13. And Coach, this was an impressive win. First win on the road for the Badgers at Claude Mann Stadium since 2018, when Arkadelphia went on to win a state championship that year. Hopefully a sign of good things to come. But really what was important about this game was not only winning the Ouachita River Rumble and bringing the belt back to Arkadelphia, making sure it stayed in Arkadelphia, but it also secured the conference championship and the 1 seed in the playoffs.
Yes, there was a lot going into the game, and yes, our kids knew about it. We talked about what all was going into the game and what it meant, but we didn't really harp on it. Our kids really didn't talk about it after Sunday, Monday. It was just one of those things where it's another opponent. We've got to prepare. Let's go be the best team that we can be when we play the game, and that's really what happened. We got the belt. That's a big deal. It always is. It is every year. And then, winning the conference is on top of that. Having that 1 seed is a huge deal as well. And, it's big whenever you go into playoffs as that 1 seed. It just gives you a little bit more confidence going into the playoffs, knowing that you're the 1 seed and that you've done the things that it takes to put yourself in a good position and have a good playoff situation. And, we're able to play at home. And so especially, this first round, playing at home is huge. Setting the tone for the rest of the playoffs, really. And, what we've been talking about this week is everybody's record 0-0 now. Yes, we're the 1 seed. We get to play at home. But anything goes in the playoffs, and everybody's situation is the same. In the playoffs, everybody is, you win, you stay. You lose, your season's over. And so being able to play at home, especially the first round and potentially other rounds, is huge for us. And so we feel like anytime we're in Badger Stadium, we've got a great opportunity to win the game.
And we'll get to the playoffs in just a moment, but you mentioned the Ouachita River Rumble Belt. Nice award to take home, but we've also got a few more awards to give out here with the Badger Players of the Week.
Yeah. So Offensive Player of the Week, you know, our offensive line did a great job, has done a great job all season, and it's led by this senior right here, Nigel Robinson. He plays right tackle for us. Really had a good game overall and leads our offensive line. You know, our offensive line look up to him as the senior leader. He's the multi-year starter for us, and, you know, he's going to potentially have an opportunity to play at the next level as well. And so, you know, we talked about playing on Saturday, kind of prepared some players for that, but he's one of those that potentially will have an opportunity to play on Saturday one day, and he's done a great job all season and had a great game leading us on Saturday. Defense, junior DB plays safety for us, Lamont Jones. You know, we had a big task for him. You know, Malvern did a really good job of getting in different formations, and he did a great job of getting our defense lined up, making sure we were lined up correctly and putting ourselves in position to make plays, and that was Lamont. Lamont did a great job. He stood up to the task. You know, we put a lot of faith and trust in him to get it done, and he did. And so he was a big testament to how our defense played Saturday. And then special teams, freshman deep snapper, Casey Pye. He came in. He's one of the – we moved up 4 or 5 ninth graders after the ninth grade season was over. Casey's one of the guys that all he wants to do is deep snap. And, you know, our junior high, that we weren't able to do that much, but we got with Casey, and Casey's pretty good at it. And so we moved him up just to do that. He goes through practice, and he's on the money every snap. And so, you know, he ends up earning his starting role in that position. And so Saturday at the game, he was on the money every time in that tough environment. You know, it's a big environment. There's a lot on the line, and he's on the money, didn't blink an eye. I mean, it was awesome for him to be able to get his first start in a game like that and then go perform the way he did. And then Badger Spirit Award winner this week is Rob Ledford. Rob Ledford's part of our custodial staff. He's in charge of our facility at the football stadium and the football offices. Does a great job of taking care of our kids, our locker room, just making sure that everything is spick and span and clean. And, you know, he's one of those that, you know, people don't really think about, you know, especially whenever you're playing and just the way the season goes. Things get busy, and, you know, he's always there to make sure that we're taken care of.
Yes. Congratulations to Mr. Ledford and all of this week's winners for well-earned honors. And Mr. Ledford's got to get ready to help get Badger Stadium into tip-top condition because there's another game coming up this week. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at some of the last scores in the 7-4A. As you see, last week of the regular season, Nashville finishing off a solid season in non-conference play, defeating Lone Oak in a narrow one, 36-35. And then Mena versus Waldron. This was one of those battles for that last spot in the playoffs. And Mena comes out on top, 28-21, but Waldron was right there.
Yes, you know, Nashville having a really good season. They represent our conference well with a big win against another 4A opponent from a different conference. And then, you know, the Mena-Waldron score, it came down to that really playoff. The winner of that game was going to make the playoffs. So that was a big game for both of those schools, and it was a good game, it looked like. Come down to one score. So Mena ended up winning it, and so they're going into the playoffs as well, and we wish them the best too.
So we take a look at the final standings. You see Arkadelphia there locking up the undisputed conference championship, 5-0 in conference, 8-0 overall. Malvern handed its first loss of the season, going 4-1 in conference play. And then you have Nashville, the Scrappers, a good bounce-back season for them. They struggled a bit the year before, but really solid after dropping the first game of conference play, only lost one more for the remainder of the schedule. Ashdown right there in the 4 seed at 2-3, and then Mena locking up the 5 seed with their first win in conference play a week ago. Waldron will not be in the playoffs, but there you see the matchups out of the 4A7. Arkadelphia versus Clinton, which we'll break down in just a few moments. Malvern taking on Pottsville. Nashville against a former 4A7 team in the form of Bauxite, and then Ashdown at Lone Oak, a team that we saw Nashville play this past week, and then Mena will be taking on Ozark, and it's important because the winner of that game will take on the winner of Arkadelphia versus Clinton, and that's the game that we're about to break down right now. And Coach, it's not wrong to have deja vu in this situation because this is the first round matchup from last year as well.
Exactly, it really is. And, you know, Clinton's a good football team. They're physical, they're really good at what they do. You know, I know that they're not pleased at how they finished the conference seeding and all that, but I'll tell you right now, they're a good football team. They're going to be physical. They're going to, you know, you're looking at their scores, they know how to score. You know, they do really well at what they do. And, you know, we've got a tall task ahead. You know, we've got to be able to stop the run. We've got to be physical. We've got to match and exceed the violence that they come with. And their offense does a really good job. And so defensively, they're going to try to man us up. They're going to try to be physical. They're going to try to tackle us, you know, and we've got to do a good job as well. We've got to execute the plays. We've got to go make plays, really what it comes down to. And that's a week in, week out deal. But Clinton's a really good football team. And, you know, it's just kind of like what I was saying earlier is in the playoffs, everybody's the same. You win, you stay, you lose, your season's over. So we've got to do a good job, and we've got to make the plays we've got to make to win the game Friday night.
The one thing that will be a little bit different, though, this year from last year is that if Arkadelphia wins, you know, last year you're looking at going on the road and being road warriors for the rest of the postseason. This year, Arkadelphia, a little bit more time at home. If they continue to win, they will at least have home field advantage going up to the semifinals. And then after that game, right there for a date with Little Rock. So the road to the Rock begins here. What does that home field advantage mean going into those postseason games?
It's huge. It's huge for us, and it gives us the confidence going into the playoffs and starting the playoffs at home, knowing that we're the 1 seed and that if we win, we get to play again at home. And so that right there just gives us a little bit extra something to look forward to, and you know, there's a little bit extra meaning to it, you know, that we win, we get to play in front of our home crowd again, and just having that confidence, we feel like we have a good opportunity to win every time we're playing in Badger Stadium. And so it's exciting to play in front of our home crowd, in our home environment. Everybody comes out and supports, and it's big. And so it gives us that extra confidence throughout the playoff.
It's going to be a fun atmosphere this Friday night. Arkadelphia taking on Clinton, and it's going to be a great crowd from the Badger faithful, I'm sure. Mr. Ledford is going to have the stadium in tip-top shape. We're grateful for all his efforts throughout the season, including the postseason now. But it's going to be a fun night as Arkadelphia starts the road to the Rock. It's going to start at 7 p.m., and you can catch that game on ArkadelphiaBadgerTV.com. And then next week, with a win, as we're hoping, we'll be back with more Inside Badger football. But until then, thank you for watching again, and go Badgers.
Inside Badger Football is brought to you by Bell Wealth Services, Welch Funeral Home, Austin Wingfield State Farm, Southern Bancorp, Southwest Sporting Goods, the accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyler, Taylor King Law, Pricing Company, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles, Thompson, and Kneebone, Certified Public Accountants, Clark County Farm Bureau, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto Collection, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Arkadelphia Tire and Outfitters, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Bats and Signs, Sonic of Arkadelphia, Dairy Queen, Pediatrics Plus, Rise Counseling, and Print Media. Inside Badger Football is produced weekly by the Ouachita Baptist University, Rogers Department of Communications, and the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.